We are going to get it started anyway. We were trying to get Jay in the room there, guys, but she's just having a few technical problems. So, yes, more rumours regarding Ten Hag. Surprise, surprise. Like, one day after the FA Cup final win, I think it's sink or swim, do or die, just sack him or back him, for God's sake. The quicker that Ineos make this happen, the better it's going to be for everybody's sanity. I mean, the journalists are stabbing in the dark, I feel. People are trying to jump onto what news they possibly can regarding Ten Hag. We've all got our opinions. Everyone's got the in for, everyone's got the out for. It's just a complete and utter mess. It will get worse and worse as long as this summer goes on. Pochettino, McKenna, Tuchel. I mean, who is the best man to take Manchester United forward? I'm sick of saying it. I'm sick of saying it now and going over the same thing again. I'm going to go through the headlines and what is being said right now, because there are some updates and there are more news that we need to get into and talk about, because obviously it is going to just start now as the dust is settling from yesterday to build up and get to a level where, you know what, everyone's just going to be at each other's throats, because that's what it seems at the moment. People are arguing amongst themselves simply because they want you to be that Ten Hag in or Ten Hag out definite. It's like, why are you not making a decision? As a United fan, you should know what you want. Well, I know what I want. I want the best for Manchester United. I want Manchester United to be challenging for the best trophies. And I think that debate is just going to roll on and on and on. And I don't know which man or which manager is going to be the one, except the thoughts of what we think are the best credentials of a certain manager off. It's difficult. It is. I'm still on a high from yesterday, by the way. I'm still buzzing, watching City fans grovel, watching some City fans, to be fair to them, actually own up and say that United were the better side. It is a start of something, hopefully, which is progressive for Manchester United. The ultimate backlash from it is, why now? Why this game? We talked on the paper on this morning, the immediate aftermath of that, the day after. We're going to get more of your comments in on tonight's show as well and get your thoughts on everything. I can obviously see you all having your say in the chat right now already. But yeah, I want to get plenty of opinion tonight, guys. That's what it's all about. I want to know what you think from the latest rumours and what is going on. Anyway, starting it off. No thank you, Bombay Bad Boy POCH Noodle. You love that POCH Noodle, don't you? Thanks for the super chat, mate. Hope you enjoyed yesterday, Pete. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Let's get into what is actually going on again. Then. Right. I'm trying to see if I've got... I can see Jay in the background. I'm not sure if I can hear him yet, though. Jay, do you want to say something? No, I still can't hear him. God damn it. It's not happening. Let me just try one more thing. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, it's definitely not working on Jay's side. I don't know what is going on. Something on Jay's side. Let's see if we can get him back in a minute. We'll keep trying. You know what we're like. Sometimes we have a few technical issues and it hampers things. But yeah, I'm going to get into the news and what's going on. I'll wait to see if Jay pops back up. But there's a few things I wanted to ask Jay, so I'm going to bring you guys in on this anyway. But in terms of the news and where everything is at and what is going on with Manchester United regarding Ten Hag and everything like that, up to date right now, the Telegraph have been talking. And they have been saying that Manchester United have held discussions with representatives of Thomas Frank and Mauricio Pochettino as they continue to explore their options ahead of the final decision on the future of Erik Ten Hag. It's got to a stage now where they're at, and again, James Ducker from the Telegraph has said Erik Ten Hag is in serious risk of being sacked despite winning the FA Cup. Did we not hear this news 4 days ago? Did we not hear this same news going day after day after day, but with a different twist? This is where we're at right now, and this is what is going to keep happening. Like I said at the top of the show, it gets to a stage where you just you stop believing the news that's going on. You stop looking at the rumours until you get the official announcement. It's just exhausted. With no football and Manchester United not doing well, the stories are going to dry up. And all that's going to happen is people second-guessing what really needs to happen at Manchester United. The review, I want to talk about the review. The review that's going on right now, what's the point? What is the point? You should already know where you are at. If you are a serious owner, you should know where you already want to go forward. You made quick-fire decisions in building up a structure for the football club. The managerial situation should be quite straightforward. It should be one of, I know which way I want to go. This is why we've waited until the FA Cup final, and now we're going to make this decision. There's no point in coming out and saying that we're going to do a review of the season. What have you got to review? We won the FA Cup. The rest was shit. Utter shit. And the worst it's ever been. I can't remember United finishing bottom of a Champions League group that bad. I can't remember United getting battered by a Newcastle side that had 4 fullbacks playing, had a shocking team, 3-0 at Old Trafford. I can't remember ever finishing on minus goal difference and 8th in the Premier League. But we won an FA Cup. Is that good enough for you? Yes or effing no. Make your decision. It's not difficult. What do you want to do? Do you want Manchester United to be challenging for the best trophies in the world? Is Ten Hag the best man for that? Are the other candidates that you are supposedly sounding out better than Ten Hag? You've got the right people in place there to make that decision. And you know what? I'm with Ten Hag when he says I want this rectifying as soon as possible. It needs to be done. It needs to be done. We keep on talking about the times and how much time Manchester United have actually got in this transfer window and what is going on. And it's just going to keep ticking and ticking and ticking, and we're just going to get more impatient and more impatient and more impatient. And eventually, like we said, we're just going to end up keeping Ten Hag. Just make the decision now. If you want Ten Hag in, keep him, give him a 3-year contract, and let's get on with it. If you don't think he's good enough, and I said this, everyone's got their own opinions. I'm not even talking about everyone's opinions right now because we've already made it clear. Like, an FA Cup win and the season we've had, it's sugar-coated and papered over a lot of cracks in our season because it was diabolical. But then you've got the argument of 2 trophies, so it does sort of, it's tit for tat. It does actually help. I think I have got sound with Jay now. I'm going to bring him in and have his say. If you just bear with me 1 second, guys, while I do a little bit of jigging around. I do want to get a lot of opinions on the show tonight, so I'm going to come to your thoughts in the live section, the live comments, very, very shortly. Let me get our man Jay in the house here. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Good to have him in. Good to get that sound working again. I don't know if he's called his missus in to help him out, but I think we have Jay with us right now, hopefully. There he is. Jay, how are we, my friends? You must be feeling good like many other Man United fans right now.
Well, I was feeling super yesterday after the game, but this morning feeling a little bit worse for wear. There may have been a couple of gins I had last night. I think we had to do that last night, my friend. It was rare that we're leaving cup final feeling on top of the world yesterday, to be honest with you.
It makes a nice change, actually, walking out against a decent outfit in Manchester City, getting the better of them and deserving the win, Jay, first of all.
Yeah, but look, we're all yesterday were highly emotional after the win, and why would we not be? But I think this morning when you go through any of your timelines, I think you come crash back down to earth. Still none the wiser what decision is going to be, and I think the club almost seems to suck the goodness out of every possible victory. Like, we shouldn't even be thinking today about what's going to happen next week or the week after. Eric Ten Hag is off on holidays, and well deserved. But yet there's still a little tinge of what happens next. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is today. But last night was obviously a great night to be a United fan. I'm sure that was mirrored by everybody walking up Wembley Way. But today, I think, Adam, reality hits in again.
Yeah, it's going to keep hitting harder and harder each day that passes with no decision, I think, Jay. I mean, I've titled up this video with the stories of the managers. I'm going to come to the managers that are possibly being talked about at the moment. We all know your opinion on Ten Hag. I think everyone is clear with that and the mistakes that he's made. He deserves his credit from yesterday. His 2 trophies in 2 years. We can understand the debate against and for. But in terms of Manchester United now, the decision needs to be made sooner than later. But I wanted to ask you something that I just mentioned then, Jay, in terms of like the review, the apparent review that the Athletic have come out, and now Sky are onto this as well, as what Manchester United are doing. I don't know what this is, but the only way I look at it, and this is my opinion, is that they are keeping Ten Hag and they are just prolonging it to make it look like they have been really assessing the situation. That's just how I feel with that excuse, because I just said then, look, if you're reviewing a season, it's quite simple. We've been shit in 3 competitions and good in 1. It's not been good enough in 3. Like 3-1 outweighs right at the end of the season. The last game of the season, like you just said then, everyone's on a high and everyone's thinking that this can be salvaged because we had a decent performance against City and we won the cup. It was great, but can you look past that? Can you be a big club and look past that and then tell us why you're keeping Ten Hag or why you're getting rid of him? But is it as straightforward as that for you, Jay, or am I missing something here?
No, I think the opposite right now are the club and Ineos have to be seen optically to analyse situation and look at our managers to make it appear to the fan base, well, we looked at what was out there and we decided to go with the devil we know. Is it a case of, that long breakup where a guy or a girl, they're with a partner and they're already out going to nightclubs and bars looking for us out there, and then they go back home to the home-cooked meal and get the foot under the table and think, you know what, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. I think a little bit of that going on as well. But I gotta view it like this, Adam. I'm judging it on 38 game Premiership, 60 points, 15 left in last season, and I'm judging it on their 6 games of the Champions League, which were an absolute capitulation. So I'm judging him on 44 games between the Champions League and the Premiership. I'm not judging him on a Hail Mary yesterday at the Cup final. And I think it would be remiss of me now to be a hypocrite and turn around and say, oh, all of a sudden, I think give him another year, I'm still Ten Hag out, and I'm going to stay in that vein. But I take your point on Ineos. Maybe right now it's a little bit of window dressing to make us think that we did a look around and we thought, no, we stay as we are.
It would be an easy way to come out of it, wouldn't it, doing that? It would, I feel, because we've seen the euphoria yesterday. I'm sure Ineos, they were all there. The Sir Brailsfords, Felix Ferguson, Sir Jim Radcliffe's, the Knights of the Round Table, all jubilant in celebration about United beating Manchester City. In the words of Sir Jim Radcliffe, he wants to take and knock City off their perch like he does Liverpool. And a beating of Liverpool and Manchester City in a run to winning the FA Cup goes a long way to answering that. But the big trophies, the consistency, and what Ten Hag has brought in. It was a great comment that came up yesterday, and obviously it was lost in the emotion of things, but Ten Hag has bought 4 players in excess of 60 million in his time at Manchester United. 3 of them were on the bench and 1 had been left out of the squad yesterday. So what does that tell you about what he's done through the whole season, the balance of his season? If you get everyone fit, then that's great. You've got a lot to pick from, and on any day, anyone can beat anyone in the Premier League. We know that. I mean, we did a double over Wolves and Wolves beat City. It's just the Premier League and what it is. It is a very, very tough league, and anyone, like I said, can beat anyone on their day. And like we said beforehand, if you're backing Ten Hag yesterday from that result, are you ultimately backing them players that apparently have been letting him down? Because a lot of them were playing as well yesterday, Jay.
Yeah, they were. And yesterday as well, a lot's been made of Ten Hag changing tactics, not playing with a recognised striker, giving Bruno almost a free role. And you're at Wembley, so you see more than I've seen on TV. And it seemed like a mismatch between a 4-4-2 diamond and a 4-2-4. But I think yesterday, I think Ten Hag, his catalyst on that pitch was Casemiro. Not Casemiro, I'm saying Casemiro. Casemiro, but the butcher. I think yesterday he kept Haaland very, very quiet for the vast majority. And I think yesterday, if it wasn't for the butcher, his poise, he's just the way he galvanized that back four, and the way United knew, okay, there's an old quote from Lance Armstrong, and Lance said, I think back in his tour in 09 when he came back, sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail. Well, yesterday, United knew they're going to be the nail. We're not going to have the ball. Give City the ball, back off them, let them play their multiple intricate 5-yard passes, and we'll catch them on the break and make it count. And looking for Ten Hag, he stumbled upon 2 absolute gems in Mainoo and Garnacho, and they have saved his season. 2 youth players saved Ten Hag's season. I think I just don't subscribe to the over conversation of emotion from yesterday, and all of a sudden, fans that were Ten Hag out for the last 6 to 8 weeks are all of a sudden, you know what? I'll give him another year. And you've said in many shows, you can't give him another year. You've got to give him a 3-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to sit here tonight and undo everything that I've been saying to you for the last couple of months. One day of sunshine doesn't make a summer. And yesterday he won. He won well. Deserved the win. We'll give him credit for it. But it's time to move on. Today's a new day.
That's it. I mean, in terms of move on, if that decision is made, we got a question. First of all, super chat in from Alien. Yep. All the Glazer bootlickers were on show. Not bootlickers. Stop it. Adam, if Eric Ten Hag is to go, when does Jay reckon they might announce it? For you, Jay, just a question from the audience there, pal. Do you want to just jump onto that one? What you think might happen?
If they're going to announce, okay, I won't say if. They have to announce this week. I know Monday's a bank holiday in the UK. So if they're keeping him, I think they'll announce it and they'll try and bury it in the news cycle. If they're sacking him, there'll be an announcement on Tuesday morning. They have to do it in the next 48 hours. They cannot let this linger between now and the start of the Euros.
Yeah, if they did, I would just see one outcome, which is definitely keeping Eric Ten Hag. It's the only way outcome I can see it if it drags on any longer than 2 weeks for me. Super chat question in from the Honest Tiger to you, Jay, as well. Jay, would you keep Amrabat? For me, was man of the match yesterday, amongst quite a lot of decent players, Jay, but would you keep him if the opportunity came? I'm going to touch on Amrabat because there is an update and news on him as well. But first of all, Jay, your own opinion on Amrabat. Would you keep him at United with that 21 million buyout clause?
Okay, I keep Amrabat definitely as a backup bench player. The biggest compliment that I can give Amrabat, he's one of those destroyer midfielders that's better when we're not in possession. So a lot of people are saying yesterday was a midfield masterclass from Amrabat. Amrabat's passing range is questionable. However, when we don't have the ball, when we're not in possession, players like Amrabat come into their own. He's a destroyer. And for that alone, we don't have enough in the squad. I keep him on the squad player.
Keep him as a squad player, definitely. Well, I'm going to move into what happens if Ten Hag has gone. We know what needs to happen if he stays, which is a 3-year committed contract. Sign him up, back him, and let's start moving forward. If he doesn't, the names that have been coming out, you've not really had your chance to speak on the actual names that we've been discussing this week, because a lot has gone on, Jay. But they're hot. The hot favourites right now are obviously Thomas Tuchel, Kieran McKenna, but Pochettino for you I wanted to get a question on, because James Ducker from The Telegraph is bigging up Pochettino at the moment. Do you feel like Poch is that type of coach? I'm not going to say manager, mate, because I don't think we're going to go down the manager route. Ten Hag is going to accept that he has to drop down. So any other manager coming in is going to have to drop down under the new structure and the new regime. Coach-wise and style of football is what I'm looking at now, Jay. Forget about what these managers have done in bringing players in. What I'm looking for is what happens on the pitch, Jay. Pochettino for you, convincing-wise, are you in?
I'm not Poch in the same way I wasn't Poch in over 2 years ago when the English media went on a full court press trying to get him the job after Solskjaer's demise. He seems to have always been the media darling. But in the day, Poch has won absolutely zero in England. He's won nothing in England. I don't get this English media fascination with Poch. On the flip side, Poch, we do know that he's been under shackles of a very tumultuous board in Chelsea. He went 60. He lost one game, 16 in the running. I thought that obviously we won yesterday, so we're Europa League and Chelsea are no longer. But he turned Chelsea around after Christmas. That's not enough for me. I was never bought into the Poch myth and the Poch hype. He performs very, very well in interviews. I watched him on that Amazon Prime documentary. He seemed to be a real kind of arm around the shoulder, empathetic manager with players. I don't think that's the kind of manager these players need. I think these players need a firm hand. As for style of football, yeah, he will play attacking football. He will play the style of football that Ineos require. But it goes back to the question of, will he simply want to coach and lose control over transfers and recruitment? Would he allow that to happen at this venture in his career?
That is, it's an interesting one for me, Poch, because I see at times a style of play. I see an understanding with his players. I see him getting a message through to his players, but then I can't put my finger on his type of play. I just can't. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because that means there's adaptability along the way with Pochettino, which is quite clear. So I look at Poch and I'll go, well, I like what he's done. You look at certain players there that have improved under Pochettino at Chelsea this season. I think Caicedo has gradually got better. Conor Gallagher has been one of Chelsea's best players, so he's got form with the youth and players coming through from the academy there. Nicholas Jackson, not great finisher for Chelsea, but has kept going and he stayed faithful with him. Obviously, because Nkunku hasn't been available, but he has got gradually better through the season. And I do think there's an understanding there with the team and with the squad. So I look at Poch and I go, I'm not convinced. I'm a real splinters in the arse when it comes to Pochettino, mate. I'm full on fencing it. I cannot make my mind up, and therefore, for me, doesn't fit the bill. I cannot be half-hearted. I had to be fully committed to a certain manager for me. The next one I want to bring up quickly, first of all, super chat from Flash Talks, FUTV versus the other lot live at the same time, FUTV Army. I didn't even know there was. It looks like someone's moving shows around from normal slots to counteract what we're doing. We're not bothered. We just do our own thing here. But cheers for that, Flash Talks. Love it. Keep liking the video, guys, as well. We're almost at that 100 like mark. Cheers for joining us on this Sunday night. Thomas Frank, Jay. Thomas Frank, swerve ball for me. Complete left field. I can see what he does with his team. Another adaptable manager. And I'm going to get into why I think Kieran McKenna wants the Man United job off the back of Thomas Frank in a minute. But for you, Frank, first of all.
Frank would be the kind of guy that would come in and would accept just to be the coach. He'll do tactics, he'll coach, and that'll be he will be that kind of manager. He won't be truckling in the media, so Ineos can control his media responses. They'll also realise with a guy like Thomas Frank that he will be a yes man. I think he'll do what he's told, and he will adapt his style of play to the style of play that Ineos want to employ. So for Ineos, not for me or for the fan base, he ticks a lot of their boxes.
Yeah, it does. I think, do you know what I've got? I have this sort of theory with Thomas Frank that he is just in safe mode at Brentford. And this is why I think McKenna wants to actually take the job at Chelsea or Manchester United. There was another report from the Telegraph saying, I'll bring it up right now, bear with me 1 second. And that is that the challenge of turning things around at Manchester United does not faze Kieran McKenna. He would relish the thought of turning Manchester United round again. And for me, I feel like Kieran McKenna and managers like that are coming through from the Championship would look at Thomas Frank and go, well, he's been there at Brentford, and now all anyone sees with Thomas Frank is he's that bottom of the table manager. Are any of the big guns gonna actually go for him? Because he just looks like he's happy and that's his level down there. Whereas you can sort of get tarnished with that brush. You can be put into that bracket of manager by constantly staying down at the bottom and playing safe. And this is why I think Kieran McKenna doesn't want to go to, say, a Brighton. He doesn't want to stay at Ipswich or go to a Brighton. He wants to take that job now so he can be seen. He backs himself and he thinks he can do a job at a big club. It's a short-lived career when it comes to managing at the top or one of the big clubs, Jay. We know this. And I think this is why he's actually looking at it and going, I can do this job. And if I don't do this job now, then I am going to be seen as that man that's always going to be bottom half of the table. And I feel like, for me, like an Eddie Howe, I don't think Eddie Howe is going to get hired in Newcastle, Jay. I see it in that kind of bracket. So if you don't jump early, and I know sometimes you can think jumping too early is suicidal and you can just sink. It can just be swallowed up whole. But I look at that type of manager and go, is that the elite are them managers going to make it to the very top, which is at the teams that are challenging for titles? And that's why I think, and I want to get your opinion on that, Jay, why I think McKenna wants to go big now, because he feels like if he doesn't, it's not going to come around again. And I understand the argument for building up and getting more experience. I've said that myself before, but the more I think about it, I kind of think he wants to hurdle that, what I would call that sinking sand, that fast quicksand, and just get stuck there. And it's sort of like it's like a safe zone for me. That's what I call it.
I think McKenna's got to be very, very careful. Cast your mind back to when Villas-Boas took over at Chelsea. Chelsea were going through another manager medical round. It was the post-Josie era. Di Matteo came in. Remember, Di Matteo was there for a short period of time, won a Champions League. Then it was Avram, the much maligned Avram Grant.
Yep.
And then Villas-Boas came in. And one of the first things he did, I heard an interview with John Terry, was he wanted all the this is an example of a young manager trying to make a statement in the game but not reading the room. He literally got all the U team players sitting first class, put the likes of Lampard and Terry and the Chelsea legends back in coach because he wanted every player to be on an even keel. He lost the dressing room on the pre-season tour. So I feel that job came too early for Villas-Boas. Okay, this job coming now for McKenna, either United or Chelsea, I think it's too early. He needs an interim job first at a Brighton. He achieves at Brighton, gets Brighton to arguably a Conference League spot next season, does another season with Brighton, plays Conference League, and see what we can do then. Then Chelsea United look at him. But one of the first things he did when he got promoted was he hired a marketing agency. So the marketing agency, they're going to do their damnedest to get him linked to the top level jobs, to raise his profile, to let teams think he's better than what he actually is. And secondly, Adam, another point that I'm sure you've discussed on shows, when he was doing the coaching role for Solskjaer, because Solskjaer was very hands-off on the training ground, the players were complaining about McKenna's coaching methods. Mm-hmm. So is that the man that you want to come into the club? I'm not there for that.
Well, that's it. Then if McKenna was to come into Manchester United, then Ineos would have to do their job and rinse the club of all them players that apparently had an issue with him. But how are they going to know who them players are? Do they want to take that risk with McKenna? Are they trustworthy of him to carry out the task in hand, which is taking United to challenging Manchester City? And we're not talking one game here. We're talking challenging them for the title and being consistent through a season. The Honest Tiger has gifted a membership. That's gone to JT's Farm. Thank you very much for that one, Honest Tiger. I love that. JT's Farm, welcome to the Members Club, my man. We do have another super chat in from Mark Lambridge. Cheers, Mark. My biggest fear is that we are writing off the start of the season by waiting so long to replace a manager because of the Euros. What do you think, Jay? I mean, he has asked me this question as well, Mark, before. So on that, Jay, in terms of time wasting, the pre-season tour, we know what's coming with that. In America, it's a waste of bleeding time when it comes through for training and player development. I've been there, I've seen it. It is a joke. It is all just for commercial purposes. We always start the season off slow under Ten Hag. We have the last 2 seasons because of these tours. Not all Ten Hag's fault. It's the club and the commercial side, like I said. But are we wasting time in not backing Ten Hag now or sacking him? Because the next manager coming in, or even Ten Hag and his preparation for the next season, he's just getting eaten into now.
That's why I said about 10 minutes ago, you've got to back him or sack him in the next 48 hours, make a call and move on. This cannot be lingering right through the Euros up to the pre-season because he is notoriously a slow starter. We know that. We cannot afford to become the end of October and already be 10 points behind because we know we're not going to recruit that. Then you know what's going to happen. The English media are going to pile on him as they've done for the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, it'll be October come November and it'll be calls by English media, Ten Hag should have gone in the summertime. So hence why you got to do it in the next 48 hours or not at all. Because after the Euros, Adam, is there roughly 6 weeks between the finish of the Euros and pre-season? Which, as you said, that's a shit show in America. Literally flying from state to state to state, doing vertical ash work on the training ground. So it's now or never.
Well, that's it, because you look at the pre-season now and it's become shorter again. The last game of the pre-season season is now official because we're going back to Wembley to play Manchester City in the Community Shield. The season starts on the 17th, so the Community Shield, I'm guessing, will be round about the 9th, 10th of August, around that time. Manchester United get back from the pre-season tour on around about the 3rd of August because they've already seen the itinerary. So the Euros starts on the 14th of June, so we are less than, we're around about 3 weeks away from the start of the Euros, for one. The players are going on holiday now. No one's really going to be doing much then, so get the manager in, get him ready. When they come back, they're off on camp to the Euros, whatever country they're playing for. The Euros, I think, is a month, so it finishes, around about the 1st to 2nd week of July, I'm pretty certain, because there's an extra teams in it this year, I'm pretty certain there is. And then Manchester United are setting off the back end of July for a pre-season tour which lasts about 10 days, 11 days max in America before coming back to play the Community Shield. And I just look at that and I go, how can we get a new manager in and get his methods, get his philosophy, get his word, get his targets and where he wants United to go to these players? I don't see any other bit of space, time where we can get something in place and get this manager in so he can be given the best chance. The longer they leave it, the more problems it's going to cause. It's interesting, just to move on from this now, in terms of results for Manchester United. Results of everything. After the Crystal Palace game, I did a poll about Ten Hag. 73% of people said they would sack him. We've done the same poll, except I've worded it a bit differently. Has the FA Cup win against Manchester City convinced you that Ten Hag should be the new manager? 72% said yes. What does that tell you, first of all, Jake, in terms of them two polls there? Is it reactional from the fans? Are we just desperate for success? Are we desperate to bring back the glory days at any sort of sign?
Look, Adam, at the end of the day, everyone on this channel is entitled to their opinion, and I wouldn't let off anyone for their opinion. It's not what happens to this channel. But based on those numbers there's a high degree of recency bias. That poll is based off one game yesterday. Look, what I just said there, the breakdown, players going on holidays into Euros lasting a month. Players then, say, if say England, just take as an England example, take England as one primary example, get to the final. Okay, so we're going to have players in there that are going to need another 2 weeks off, that will arrive late on the preseason tour. And you said many times, last year you were following the preseason in America. How much time is actually given to actual training? Because it's commercial engagements. Corporate sponsorship meet and greets, followed by a Mickey Mouse game against reserves or MLS team. I don't even know who we're playing in preseason. Maybe Adam or someone in the chat will know who we have in preseason. And then to come back then the first weekend, or give or take, in August, and play a Charity Shield game, and then you're back into the season.
Well, we've got Real Betis, we've got Rangers, we've got Arsenal, we've got Liverpool, we've obviously got Manchester City. So we're playing the top 3 in our pre-season before it kicks off. So the competition is quite decent, to be honest. I think a decent level. I can say that for certain. How ready Liverpool and Arsenal will be different to when we play Manchester City, obviously. But there is going to be a very clear sign about how Manchester United's fitness levels are. But the big issue that I've got, Jay, in all of this pre-season mayhem is the same issue that everyone has been using as the excuse this season. This is just going to cause massive amounts of burnout amongst the playing staff for me. I don't feel like what's happening right now, a long season again off the back of a lot of injuries, the Copa America, the Euros, everyone is going to be playing international duty. We're straight back into pre-season with, like what you said there, they've got to find match sharpness, they've got to find fitness. There is zero rest time, Jay. them injuries are going to come back. For every single
Yeah.
club this is. So if every single club's dealing with the same sort of thing, that's fair enough. But what I'm saying is Manchester United are coming off the back of finishing 8th and needing an overhaul of a squad. So you're going to need a new manager to adapt to new players. Or if Ten Hag stays, Ten Hag's new changing of his role, his coaching role now at Manchester United, because he's losing his veto and he's losing his power, what Ineos are bringing in, and he's bringing new players in. What's going to happen to the players then that were kicking off because they weren't playing, that he's already brought in? Again, a new manager or Ten Hag, whichever way you go, there isn't enough time, Jay. And it's starting to worry me. I wanted this done instantly, like bank holiday weekend, just announce it. You don't need a review. It's right there in front of you. This is what Ineos have been doing over the last, 3 months now with this audit? They know exactly what's going on, Jay. I don't understand this.
But Adam, there lies the problem. We know we're now Branchester FC. We've been called Commercial FC and whatnot. And that's been levied at the Glazers for years. So after the slow start to last season, after the spate of injuries, surely logic would dictate, okay, this did not work last season. We're not going to sign commercial contracts to come back to the States again in 2024 and repeat the exact same mistakes. But yet here we are a year later and they're repeating the same mistakes, which proves categorically beyond a shadow of a doubt the Glazers don't give a shit about whatever manager is there. They don't give a shit with the players or the fans. All they care about is United as a commercial and market entity. That's all they care about. Now, Jim came in, paid his 1.3 million to run football operations. The preseason tour is part of football operations. So did Jim not have any power or discussion with the Glazers? Hang on, lads. Your last year's preseason was a shambles. At the Euros in again, we're not going to America's preseason. We're staying at home and we play some games in the UK or Norway or Sweden or close, literally within a 1 or 2 hour flight. No, he has let the Glazers dictate the preseason, which lets me question now, Adam, how much power really does Sir Jim actually have?
I mean, I know for certain the preseason tour would have been set probably before before Sir Jim had any power. To be honest, on that side of things, it's set well in advance. I've known about it for a long time. I know exactly where we're going, what teams we're playing. So I don't think Ineos would have had any power in that. If Ineos are to back their word, and Sir Jim is going to back himself in terms of the football comes first, we will see in future pre-seasons, hopefully, where they stand with that. That's going to be an interesting one, a good point you made there. I'm going to come to the chat, so if you've got any questions for me and Jay, get them in now, everybody. I'm just going to go. Ineos said that they would listen to the fans, unlike the Glazers. They said they should have made their decision already. ? I see the same Glazer tactics from Ineos. Trust Ineos. I am not sure anymore. See, this is what he's also going to do. It's also going to make fans doubt Ineos. Mark saying he's watching me there, saying that I'm slowly going to be agreeing with what he said a while ago about it being too late. We should have sacked him ages ago. Personally, I think Ten Hag should have gone after the Crystal Palace game, or gone after it was mathematically impossible to make the Champions League. The longer this goes on, the more uncertainty creeps in. And to give a manager a chance to win a trophy, I just feel is not the right mentality of a big club. He's won the trophy now, and now he's got a good chance of staying probably because of it. If Ineos haven't made the decision already, then there is definitely a good chance. But the news will keep coming and it'll keep changing all the time. But honestly, I just think it's not helping anyone. And the only thing it's going to affect is the start of next season, and if Ten Hag is still here, then the scrutiny will come straight back onto the manager because everyone else will disappear behind the scenes when the season starts, Jay, is how I see it.
Yeah, they will. And then Sir Jim and Dave Brisford, they, at that point, then would have lost the fan base. Because right now, the fan base is, okay, I know you did a poll there, it was 70-odd% saying keep him. But that'll flip around, as you know, as players go out, players come in, and come August, if Ten Hag is in situ, I think you're going to have a 50-50 split in the fan base. So should he start the season slowly, go down to a couple of embarrassing defeats early doors, all of a sudden Sir Jim and Dave Brailsford and the rest of his cronies in Ineos, they're going to have egg in their face. And all of a sudden, the fan base will shift very, very fast to negativity towards Ineos. And as you know, once the fans turn, it's like trying to turn an oil tanker to get them back on side.
That's it. Bacon Butty in the chat there. Last pre-season we played 8 games. This pre-season is 5 games. It's not actually, is it? It's a bit more. There's other games to be added into it as well. And let's not forget, a couple of them games were reserve team games as well, Bacon Butter, where we didn't play the first team players. George Oliveira says, for one game, Ten Hag is the best manager in the world. Please, 8th place phase group stage in Champions League is horrible 10 season. Some of us don't remember the bad times for Fergie, actually. That's Louise talking to someone else in the chat there. At least next season we won't have to play Leeds. Thank you, Southampton. Yes, Simon. A good point, Nat. Well done to Southampton for coming straight back up to the Premier League. Will Man United, blimey, it's so dirty. Blue fans on social being very salty over. We took the FA Cup off them and keep saying 4 in a row. We definitely live in their head rent-free. I'm still enjoying celebrations, and you should keep on celebrating them, that win yesterday. Graham says he prefers POCH because of what he's done at Spurs. I can see why. Youth academy players coming through are a big thing about United. He has got a good record with youth. Get the next Mbappe or Bernardo Silva. Maybe not Michael. Alien Tenno. And an owner cannot base a decision on the club's fan base. He should listen to the fans, but obviously just use that in his discussions with his hierarchy, with the structure that's there, the people that's around him. I think that's how it should be used, if anything. Super chat from Alien Tenno. United done the FA Cup double, men and women. Good point, Alien. Well done to the women and the men's team on that one. At least we've got silverware coming into Old Trafford and the under-18s as well. So not the end of the world. And today I'm still positive after what happened yesterday because I've seen what we can play. I'm more annoyed because I've seen how we can play, and it didn't come early on in the season. But, I mean, talking about the players, we just talked about Amrabat there, Jake. Mainoo, apparently there is a new deal in the offing for him, but they're going to wait until the end of the pre-season. Would you be giving Mainoo a new deal now?
I think you have to, but I don't want to go down the
He's on a 5-year, 10 grand a week right now, Jay, for an 18-year-old. Where do we go?
Okay, so 10 grand a week for any of us watching, we bite your hand off, but we know Premiership wages are up on 100 grand plus or more. Yeah, look, they will restructure his contract, no question about that. He's 5 years, and they're going to push him now as the marketer player of the club. You can see in the next 2 or 3 years, Mainoo and Garnacho will push forward as the poster boys of the club, and they will replace Rashford. But what I don't want to see is the likes of Mainoo put on a bumper, life-changing £350,000 pounds per week contract, because I think it has had a huge effect on the ego of doesn't mark as other players in the past that we've had in these mega deals. So definitely an increase is warranted, but not of the mega wages, because we've seen what's happened to players in the past. They've regressed as a result.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes wants to stay at Manchester United. Obviously, one of our standout players. Captain performance yesterday, Jay. New contract for him?
Actually, I've got a Bruno stat here that somebody sent me on X. Bruno, 11 semi-finals and finals and 12 goal contributions. That's a banger.
It is.
Yeah, Bruno, 29, approaching his 30th birthday. So, is Bruno happy with just winning cups? Is he happy with just picking up a Carabao Cup or FA Cup every second season? Is that his mentality level? I don't think it is. The question Bruno has to ask himself is, over the next 3 years before I'm 32, 33, am I going to win a Champions League, and am I going to win a Premiership? And for Jim, has gone on and on about his 3-year plan. So does Bruno think that he can win one of those titles with the club in the next 3 years? It's a very tall order. Adam, do you think that that's even possible?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't see that happening. Post Life has just donated 10 memberships. Thank you very much, mate. They've gone to Andrew Williams, Big Bad Phil, The Ferocious, Shabazz, Milam Gray, Ron Garside, Jake Green, Jordan Hall, Andrew, Christoph. I think that's everyone there. Post Life Legend, thank you so much. Please, guys, make sure that you thank him in the chat as well for them donated memberships. We will be doing the next watch along on TIFO. Well, I'm away actually, but still, it's the Champions League final on Saturday. So make sure that you tune in to the members posts that are coming up as well. We've just passed 150 likes, guys, so that's amazing as well. Let's see if we can creep that up before we finish up on the end of the show. I'm going to read through a few players, Jay. I want you to just tell me. I've done this outside. I've done this with people on the street. I want to do it with you as well. I'm just going to get these up right now. Okay, I've got a list of Manchester United players. All I want you to do, Jay, is just tell me sell or keep. That's all I want you to do. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, a long list of players. Anthony Martial.
Sell.
Donny van der Beek.
Sell.
Brandon Williams.
Sell.
Facundo Palestre.
Keep.
Harry Maguire.
Sell.
Victor Lindelof.
Sell.
Johnny Evans.
Keep.
Scott McTominay.
Sell.
Sofyan Amrabat.
Keep.
Marcus Rashford.
Sell.
Casemiro.
Sell.
Varane was on this list, but we know he's going anyway. So I'll move on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Actually, keep. Backup.
Okay. Luke Shaw.
Sell.
Ahmad.
Keep.
Okay, that was my list. The one interesting one that came out of that there, because this was done, and I did this on the street before Amrabat had his spell in the team where he had 4 starts in a row. You're the first person out of anybody that I've asked that list to that's kept Sofyan Amrabat. Does that just not show that certain players have only just managed to get a spell in the team and haven't had the chance to prove what they're worth under Ten Hag and this Manchester United side this season, Jay?
Yeah, it does. Ten Hag has banged on and on a number of injuries. That's been his bugbear excuse. And even when fit, Amrabat hasn't played. So that's on the manager.
And in the final, he played in literally the game that may save Ten Hag. He's played Sofyan Amrabat in that team. That's a big game and a big statement call from Ten Hag.
But that because Ten Hag had changed his tactics. He knew, as I said, it was the hammer and nail scenario. He knew that he was going to be the nail all day. He knew that he had to just let City have the ball, let them knock the ball around the halfway line, because a lot of their possession, Adam, as you saw you're at the game, was at the halfway line and not actually in the final third of the pitch. And players like Amrabat and McTominay are better without the ball at their feet. So Amrabat came to his own yesterday. It's a perfect game for him.
It's very true. It's very true. We have another super chat from Liam. Had the greatest day yesterday. First ever FA Cup final. Looked in with a free ticket. I think we should keep Ten Hag another window and judge in December. Appreciate the super chat there. Thank you very much, Liam. Again, I just think that's something that we cannot afford to do. Again, I'm all in or all out right now. I think it needs job security. I think it needs everyone on board with the plan. Anyone who's half-hearted in this isn't going to be on board with what Ineos want. And that's the biggest part of the decision, Jay, for me. I feel like the decision that does come either way has to be fully committed, and they know that the person they're talking to is all in on what they want to do. I think Ten Hag has bent over backwards since Ineos have come in to charm offensive and completely change what he had set in stone with his contract. I think he has accepted that he isn't a manager like a manager of Sir Alex Ferguson, who's come in to try and play his way at Manchester United. do you feel like he can listen to someone else? Do you think he's a manager that will change everything that has brought him to where he is now? Because in doing this rallying cry that Ten Hag has done, I'll go elsewhere and I'll win trophies. I've won trophies every season I've been a manager, which is true, because he's won while he's been at Ajax, and he's won two trophies at United, and each year he's been here. But in doing so, is that him saying that I'm not willing to drop down to that level that Ineos want and do the role that Ineos want to do, because I want to do things my way, and this is what I've done my whole career?
Well, he was very bullish in his interview, if you can even call it that, yesterday with Lineker and Shearer. Like we know Lineker is a complete another Pep-osexual. He loves Pep, from the Barcelona link. He loves Pep. Shearer hates United, and I thought in that interview the two boys really were popping off Ten Hag, and I thought Ten Hag handled those two very, very well. So Ten Hag, over the last couple of weeks, his press conferences, he's got up my estimation. I almost felt him to be a little bit, laissez-faire in his press conferences, and he's dealing with the press the last 6 weeks. I think since the debacle at Palace, his attitude at press conferences totally changed. And I can also, I'm basing this just on my personal opinion. I think after that defeat in Palace, he's been tearing those lads a new arsehole in training. And any player that doesn't want to turn up and play for him the last couple of weeks, he hasn't looked at them. So I think yesterday he knew the players that were playing a shift. He trusted them. You see it after the game. You saw how Martinez responded to him on the touchline, lift him up in the air. You saw that like a player can't fake that. That's there or it's not there. And the players yesterday, you can see how when they handed the cup to him on the 30 odd steps, the players have played for him. I know during the season you and I were saying that they've down twos, this and that. Maybe some had, but the last couple of weeks he's galvanized them, and I give him credit for that. So now it's literally you back him 3-year contract and you move on, but you do it fast or not at all.
Here's a question for everyone in the chat from the super chat from Mark. Actually, 21 million Amrabat or 3 for Rabiot? I know Amrabat's wages are going to be nowhere near what Rabiot's are and what he wants. Personally, I don't even think it's our own opinions that we need to bring into this one. I think we just know the answer from what Ineos' message has been so far, that I don't think they would touch Rabiot because of the demands that he is going to want wage-wise. I mean, Rabiot for UJ, it's a free transfer, and obviously he's gettable and he is a decent player. I'll give him that. But is it another issue player?
Yeah, we were linked to him in, was it 2022 summer?
Continuously.
If I'm not mistaken.
Continuously.
That was originally. And then didn't Arnold and Murta go off to Turin and try to negotiate with his mother, who's the agent, and couldn't negotiate a wage. His wages were astronomical. He's coming in and free. It's his last big deal. He'd want astronomical wages. Is he better than Amrabat? Yes, technically he's a better player than Amrabat. However, in this context, I'd rather go with the devil you know. I'd stick with Amrabat, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Don't want Amrabat anyway, says Barbara. I think it's a one good day. It doesn't make a summer sort of thing. I'd definitely still change him, says Frank. I'm sure that's what you just said before, Jay, actually. It's your phrase, that one, isn't it? Neither get in someone else, says the Ferocious, in terms of Amrabat and Rabiot. Don't want either of them in. Need 2 at each position. Casemiro gone, can't afford to let him go. Who else do we have at 8 outside of Mainoo? That's it, Jay. With senior players going, Varane going, Casemiro looking like he's going to be off as well. If Amrabat does go, there is a seniority about Amrabat, and that's going to have to be replaced again. People coming through the academy aren't going to be able to fill these voids, mate, without the experience next to him. So, just in context, we lose Casemiro, we don't take the option Amrabat. You're left then with Scott McTominay as the senior midfielder at the club. And just let that sit with you in life. Yeah, well, I'd written Ericsson off anyway to go. He was released on a free. He's going in a free, if not mistaken. That came out last week. So, up and coming, potential world class Mainoo,
and Scott. They're the nucleus of our midfield. We can't have that. So I get some of the fans don't rate Amrabat. I get it 1,000% fair enough. But he's a body, he's a workhorse, and he's an honest player. He won't down tools.
No, he won't. He won't. Keep Maguire, sell Lindelof, keep McTominay, says Graham. Where are you at with them 3 players, Jay?
Well, I know Graham is a massive fan of Scott, and he rates Scott highly. Graham and I had a chat about Scott doing out in Manchester. He rates him highly. I don't rate Scott. I never have. I think he's a bench warmer at best. Maguire, I hope Maguire has an amazing Euros and then cash in on him. You have to cash in on Maguire. This has been his best season, I think, for us. But Maguire, he's not going to get any faster. He's not going to get more physical because it's just not his game. So if Maguire has a great Euros, cash in for 30, 35 mil.
In terms of a question there, Adam, when will United make signings? It's a difficult one this season because of this decision again, Bex said. Because I think when the manager's in and everyone's in place, then United will start making signings. I think it either goes absolutely crazy this summer and all of a sudden it's like a bang, 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 here we go, signings through the door. Or we stress a lot because of the lack of players coming in. Right now, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. There are links to players and there are tentative talks according to certain journalists and media, but there's nothing concrete, there's nothing definite. Whereas summers before, you would know United were going in for a certain player and we're all in for that player and the rumours would be rife. But right now, everything being a bit quiet, I don't know if I'm happy about that or if I'm worrying about that. Realistically, I have to go, look, it's as close as we got to what it used to be like at Manchester United with no one knowing too much about what's going to happen and then bang, here we go. So I kind of sway towards I'm happy about not knowing about any possible signings coming in because we obviously want Ineos to be doing the work behind the scenes without anyone knowing about everything. It would just prove that they actually know what they're doing and they have got the wheels in motion that need to be, Jay, in this. Does it concern you that... Will it concern you if a manager isn't in by the end of next week, Jay?
I'm going to go on record and say if a manager isn't in next week, that Ten Hag will get a new contract. That's my gut feeling.
By next weekend?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And as regarding signings, every summer, since as long as I can remember, it's like a soap opera regarding United signings. We're linked to literally every half-decent player across Europe gets linked to us. I'd like for one summer that Ineos go around their business silently. The way Liverpool do. You know, Liverpool get linked to a player and all of a sudden the following day, boom, he signed one jersey. We take 3 months. And by the time the player holds the jersey up, as you know, Adam, you've seen it time and time again, the good is now the deal. So I just hope this off-season that Ineos can go about their business quietly.
That would be nice.
And deliver the 3 to 5 signs that we need.
It would make a nice change, it really would. But the poll that we put up, give Mainoo a new deal. 91% say yes to 9%. Be interesting to see what the 9% thought, because I don't think it'll be necessarily give him a new deal because you don't like him. I think it may be keeping a young player's feet on the ground and not jumping the gun like we have done before after one season. So, yeah, I think I'll end that poll there because I like a nice 91. I think we can say that's definitely a majority vote on that one. But, guys, we have done an hour. That went incredibly quick. Jay, absolutely, really appreciate you coming on, mate. I loved that. It was a great chat.
Yeah, thanks as always. That felt like a 10-minute chat there. That flew by.
It
literally.
It did, didn't it? It did. Saeed just popped in to say hello before we finished. What's happening, Saeed? Buzzing with you today. Hope you're doing well. Everyone in there, Louise as well. All the regulars that have been in. I am off on my jollies tomorrow, but the content continues. I'll find a way, trust me. And we will be talking live again, guys. So, yeah, really appreciate you all the new members, the donated members, the super chats, all of your comments in the comment section. You absolute legends. The season is over. It's official. It's done. Over to you, Ineos. What have you got for us? What has the summer got in store? I'll be covering all of it. I'll be doing content with other people as well this summer, guys. And the Euros is coming up as well. There's loads going on. It doesn't stop because the football stopped. It won't be long before it's back, by the way. But yeah, that is it for now. This season is over. Jay, where can the people catch you over the summer? What's your socials, mate, and what you're up to?
You can get me, if you really want to, on JD Mourinho. And I might do bits on the Euros on TikTok as well.
Good stuff, guys. You know the score. Please give the video a like before you leave. Let's get up near that 200 mark. Make sure you're subscribing to Forever United TV. Share the video as well. Drop into the description for all of our links to our sponsors, partners, and everything else going on. Big shout out to Haters TV as well for the footage. Johnny Evans yesterday and all the press conferences over the last month as well from them. Absolute legends on that channel. Go and check them out for all the other Premier League clubs content as well around interviews. They'll be going all summer, guys. So cheers to them. Cheers for you guys. Season's over. I will see you tomorrow. It might even be in the airport, guys. But you'll have to just wait and see. Have a great evening.